Hello, am I audible? Hello. I'm unable to hear. Mr. Asif, I think you're saying something I'm unable to hear.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. This is Geeta, ma'am. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Gita ma'am.
Sir,
Am I
we'll start.
audible?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, we'll wait for another 5-10 minutes, then we'll start. Sir, we'll wait for 5-10 minutes.
Sure,
Okay?
sure. Okay, I'll
Yes.
just mute myself.
Shalini, ma'am, you're there?
Hello, I'm there.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Can we start? We'll wait for another 2 minutes.
Okay.
Ma'am, can you see me?
I can see you. Can you see me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Good to see both of you.
Ajit, where are you? Hello, Asif. Good
Sir,
afternoon.
you are able to see
Good
both of
evening.
us?
Yeah, I can say Ajit as well now. So
Okay.
Ajit, I can't see you. Oh, wonderful.
Ajit, your voice I can't hear. I don't know.
Yes.
Just your voice I can't get. Else's voice is clear. Is it just me or everybody else can't hear Ajit?
No, even I can't hear Ajit.
Hello, Ajit.
Ajit, your voice sounds like a robot speaking at a high frequency, something like that. Not clear.
Yes.
Asif, your voice is also not clear.
Uh, I, is it okay now?
I
Uh,
can hear properly.
little, no,
How?
little
It
disturbance. I
depends. It
can.
depends sometimes. Sometimes वो Zoom में होता है मेरे यहाँ पे कभी कभी. I don't know why. कुछ कुछ लोगों को होता है. It's like everybody might not get that problem, but some people might have a problem.
Then I'm chat will just ask everyone.
Ma'am, you asked Ajit na why we are not able to hear him.
Okay, I'll just call him up.
I think Ajit is no longer connected. I think he disconnected.
Actually, sir, he's saying कि electricity is gone at his place. So because of that, so we'll start, sir, as we have already crossed.
चलेगा
Participants are more than
चलेगा
100.
चलेगा चलेगा चलेगा.
Shall we start?
Yes, ma'am. Please start.
Yeah, yes. Now we
Yeah,
can hear
Ajit,
Ajit.
everything. Yeah, Ajit, everything fine. Electricity came.
Ma'am, we'll start.
Okay. Good
Okay.
afternoon, everyone. It's indeed pleasure for me on behalf of Department of Computer Science, KC College, HSNC University, I would like to extend warm welcome to everyone. Okay, today we are having a webinar on networking, computer networking, and beyond. So I hope you'll be having active participation in this session, and I would like to our coordinator, Star DBT coordinator Geeta ma'am, to introduce Asif. He's our alumni, and I have known him from past 20 years. So welcome, a warm welcome, Asif sir.
Asif sir will be too
Over.
much. Asif is absolutely fine.
Now I can say your vice principal as well. I can say it. I can take the proud in that. So proud, proud, and I can say eminent alumni of KC College, BSc Computer Science Department.
Yes, proud to be
Over
one.
to you, Geeta ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Good evening, all my dear students. Welcome for this webinar. Uh, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Asif Rampurawala, who is the Vice Principal of Vidyalankar School of Information Technology. Asif sir has done Masters in Computer Science from University of Mumbai. He is having more than 15 years of teaching experience, both in UG and PG. He is actively involved in various collaborations with foreign universities and industries. He is also a professional member of Association for Computing Machinery and Computer Society of India. His research interests basically includes ICT, pedagogical research, and soft computing. He has been conducting various corporate trainings in the area of business intelligence, IT risk management, and software development using Java, amongst others also. He's he is a KCI. He has completed his computer science in 2003. Sir, on behalf of HSNC University, KC College, Computer Science Department, myself and Shalini ma'am welcome you for accepting our invitation to deliver knowledge for our students on the topic computer network, which is your expertise. Thank you so much, sir. Basically, students are from all three classes, including MSc and also from other colleges. I hope students will be having knowledge about all this from your talk, and whatever queries they will be having, sir, please, they will be putting in the chat box. You are requested to answer for the same. Okay, sir. Sir, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. All right. So the thing which we are going to do today is, going to be very, very practical. So when I was discussing with the organizers about today's webinar and how we are going to be conducting it, the one thing which I was told very, very, very clearly was, it has to be interesting and it has to be practical oriented. So I will try to keep it, as interactive as possible in terms of the applications orientation. And I would also try to answer a few questions at the end of the session. Okay. Let us start with, let's see if I can share my presentation here. So everybody can see the slide now.
Students, please write yes in the chat box.
Yeah, it's okay. So thank you, Nikhil, for being the first one to say yes. Yeah, okay. So let's not have 150 yeses now. All right, no problem.
Yes. Enough students. Thank you.
No problem, no problem. Okay. So now, what we're going to do is going to start off with, a brief overview of today's session. Okay. So these are some of the topics which I have planned. I don't know whether I'll be able to cover everything. I don't know if some things will be, left out. It depends on how, how many questions you'll get or how you all interact. It may happen that I might finish it before time as well. So it's all depending on how many questions you'll need to you put in over there. Okay. I have currently. So I had switched off the chat for everybody, but it's okay. I've put it on again, so everybody can chat now. But if I start seeing people chatting to each other, then I block it again. Okay. So let's get ahead with networking basics. So one of the things which I required everybody to do today was I was expecting everybody would, plan a few, would be having a basic background in networking. So, okay, so a very basic background is okay. As long as you all know the basics, it would be fine. Okay. So let's start off with the networking basics. Just as a quickly to see if everybody remembers everything, what you might have studied in your first year or something like that. Okay. Now, these are the networking devices which are there, and you might have studied about things like hubs and repeaters, bridges and switches, routers and gateways, right? Is there anybody who can quickly tell me what is a repeater? One line answer.
Students, please put your answer in the chat box.
Don't worry, ma'am. I'm used to. Don't worry. If they
Okay,
want to
sir.
answer, let them be free. If they don't want to answer, they're okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah. So enhances the signal, extends the signal, uses the increase the signal strength. All right. Okay, helps us extend our Wi-Fi range. Yes. So a repeater is something which basically receives a signal from one side and regenerates that signal again. Okay, so that the signal can travel to a longer distance. Okay, so it can extend the length of your network. Okay, it will be used to relay your signal to a further distance. Okay, now as somebody said rightly, we have something called as Wi-Fi extenders. Okay, so Wi-Fi extender is used to repeat the signal in your own homes or offices if you have something called as a dead zone. So a dead zone is an area in your home where you are not getting Wi-Fi reception clearly. So what you would do is somewhere in between the your Wi-Fi router and your dead zone, you will install a Wi-Fi extender. It's a device which you just plug it into a power socket, and it will increase the length, the range of your network, and you probably will be able to avoid any dead zones within your home. Okay, now this will happen if you have a big house. Okay, in Mumbai, generally our houses are too small, so those dead zones really don't occur. Okay, so if you're lucky to have a very big house where you can create a dead zone, then great. Then you can buy an extender as well. Okay, so it repeats the signal. It's not an amplifier. That's another story. Okay, now there are something called as hubs and bridges. Okay, so hubs and bridges are again used to create something called as a star topology. So if you look at the diagram on the left, okay, so you see this network switch. Okay, so a hub or a switch allows you to create something called as a star topology. Okay, so a hub and a switch will be able to create, so if you see that diagram, there's a network switch which is connected to a wireless network, a gaming console, and a computer. So you get a kind of a star topology where the switch sits in the center. A hub would be very similar. It would also sit in the center. The only difference between a hub and a switch is that a hub takes the signal and broadcasts that signal to all the output ports. Okay, so if it receives from one, it sends it to everybody. A switch will send it to only the device which actually it is intended for. So it understands the message and this sends it to the correct destination. All right. So that's the basic difference between a hub and a switch. So we say that a hub is part of the transmission medium. Okay, so everybody knows what a transmission medium is, right? So a transmission medium is the medium through which signals travel over the network. Okay, so hub is not really considered as a layer 1 or a layer 2 device at all. Okay, a hub is considered as part of a, if it's a passive hub. Okay, so passive hub is a part of the medium itself. Okay, it just connects the net cables in a fashion, in some topology. Whereas a switch is very different because it has a data link layer. So it has the physical layer and the data link layer. So it understands the addresses, something called as MAC addresses, and then relays the message to the right destination host only. It does not broadcast it to everybody. Okay. So we will be talking about this a lot about unicast and broadcast and stuff like that. Then we also have something called as a router. The router is what we will call as a network layer 3 device, okay, a network layer device, which actually does routing. Okay, so routing basically means that it connects two different networks. Okay, as long as you have two different networks, to connect them, you need a router. If you have to connect a single network, and if you want to connect multiple computers in a single network, you need a switch or a hub. Okay, but if you want to connect two different networks, okay, that's where a router is used. Now, how do you identify a network? And it depends on something called as a network ID. Okay, is my audio clear to everybody, or everybody's having trouble listening to me? Because there's somebody who's saying the audio is not clear.
Yes, sir. I think there is some disturbance with the audio. Is it possible if you can switch on, if you can put up an headphone or try any other thing?
Actually, I'm wearing one, I'm assuming that is there an echo or something?
Yeah, there is a background disturbance noise that is actually coming.
Okay, let me just check if I can do something with my audio settings.
Yeah, definitely, sir. If you can try something else, that would be wonderful.
Hello, okay, am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you are audible,
Hello?
but there is
Hello? Hello?
yes, you are audible, sir, but there is a background noise or a kind
Even
of
then,
a.
even now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so
Even
there's
now,
something.
yeah.
Uh,
So, sir, is YouTube or anything else is going in your computer on the background?
just check. No, no YouTube, nothing. Just Zoom. Nothing else is happening. Okay, let's see. Is the disturbance too much?
Yeah. I think there is a background noise that is coming up every time you speak. May I request if you have an earphone or a headphone? I think that might solve the issue.
I'm actually wearing a headphone. So,
Oh, is it?
like,
Is it?
I mean,
So
wearing a
then,
earphone. So I'm actually speaking through that. So I really don't know what's the trouble going on. Let me just see
okay.
if I can check something in my audio settings. Just give me a second. Um,
Hello, hello. Am I audible now?
Yeah, wonderful, sir. The voice is very clear now.
Now better? Okay. So
It's quite the background noise has gone.
gone. Okay. I think both the
Only increase the volume.
do you want
Now
me to
background noise is not there, but the volume is low.
my volume is low, is it? Is it
Yes.
better now?
Yes. Mm.
Okay. Let me speak loudly. I don't know because now I'm not using the headphones actually, I think.
Yeah, I think the issue was with the headphones.
Sorry.
I think the issue was with the headphones, sir.
I think the issue might have been with the headphones.
Yeah. Now the audio is very clear. Only thing is, I think you're speaking to your webcam, inbuilt webcam, so the volume here is getting lower. That's the only issue that I think
All right.
students are
All right.
facing.
Okay. So I will
Okay.
try to talk loudly and hopefully at least the background noise is gone now. So
Yeah. No, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. May I request all the participants to please wear an headphones or earphones so that you'll hear louder volume.
was I think my setting for my audio, the mic is also at the highest level now. So I am unable to talk any louder than I'm unable to increase the sound any further. But
Okay.
again,
Okay.
there's a bit disturbance in the background.
No, no, there is zero disturbance, sir. Now the volume is crystal clear. Only thing is, audience wanted to be a little louder. So I think we'll continue with this, sir. Only if you have a different headset, you can use it, or else we'll go with this. The audio is very
I'll
clear.
do this. I'm just we'll go ahead with this now because I don't think I will be able to find it.
Definitely, sir. Definitely, sir. My request to all the participants here is that kindly wear up a good headphones and increase the volume of your own respective devices. The audio from Mr. Asif is very clear and clean to me, and I hope it is same to you. Over to you, Mr. Asif, sir. Please. Over to you, Asif, sir. Uh, Asif, sir, we cannot hear you.
Thank you so much. It's okay. Ajit, you call Asif sir and ask him.
Definitely, I'll call him. I'll call him.
Hello, hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You are audible now. Yes.
Okay, so I don't know now. If I remove the mic, it goes away. If I wear the mic, it goes away. I don't know. Some things are happening.
Sir, this is quite good. I think we'll continue with this.
All right. Okay, so let's continue with this.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Uh,
So everybody is familiar with the OSI layers, right? So there are the 7 OSI layers, which are the basic, for entire networking. So the physical layer, the data link layer, the network layer, the transport layer, the session layer, the presentation layer, and the application layer. There are various protocols which work on these layers. Okay, and these are very important. They are the ones which actually allow the communication to happen. They are the rules through which communications happen. Okay, so for example, if anybody does anybody know what the technical name for the Wi-Fi protocol is? So everybody uses Wi-Fi, right? Yes. So Nadeem, absolutely right. 802.11. Okay. So 802.11 is the protocol on which, or is the protocol by which we commonly call it as Wi-Fi. All these protocols are designed and approved by an agency, an organization called the IEEE. Okay, so these are IEEE project codes, which are called as 802.11, 802.12, 13, 14. In fact, there is the Ethernet, which we use as a local area network, is 802.3. Okay, so all these projects have been developed over the years. These are protocols which are allowing us to communicate over the data link layer. Okay, when it comes to the internet, that's where we start using the network layer and above. So the network layer, which is the layer 3, and the transport layer, which is layer 4, and the upper layers, which in the internet we combine the application, the presentation, and the session layer into a single layer called the application layer. Okay, so there are protocols designed in the internet for each of these layers. So the networking layer has the protocol called as the internet protocol. So the layer 3 uses the major protocol which is used at the network layer is the internet IP. Okay, there are other protocols as well. There are many protocols which are working at the network layer, including things like ARP, RARP, ICMP, IGMP, and so on and so forth. Transport layer, the most popular 2 protocols are TCP and UDP, but then there are also other protocols like SCTP, which is for streaming, SSL and TLS, which are for security purposes, which we use while we are sending information over the internet. Nowadays we use TLS and SSL all the time. Okay, whenever we use HTTPS instead of HTTP, we are using a kind of an encryption, which at the transport layer would be using something called as an SSL or a TLS. Okay, at the application layer, we use protocols which are specific to the application which we are using at the time. So most of the times when we are surfing the internet, the protocol which we use is HTTP, right? Whereas when we are transferring files, we use FTP. When we are actually sending an email, or we are using SMTP. When we are receiving an email, we are using something called as a POP, and so on and so forth. Now, all these protocols, okay, we are, and of course, today I won't be able to get into the details of all of them, but we will quickly look at some of these protocols and how they are, interacting in the coming few minutes. Before I go there, let me just ensure that everybody understands the addresses which we will be talking about. So now, when we start the practical session, what you will be knowing, what you need to know is that every computer or every device on the network can have multiple addresses. Okay, the first is the application layer address. We call it a host name. Okay, so the application layer address of a device is called as a host name. So a computer which is connected to the network, okay, a computer which is connected to a network would have a host name. So you can check your host name by actually just writing host name on your command prompt. Okay, and you will be able to know your name of your host, okay, or name of your computer on the network. Okay, that's your application layer address. At the transport layer, you have something called as a port number, and at the network layer, you have something called as an IP address. Okay, that's how processes or applications on your computer communicate with other processes on other computers over through a network. Okay, so the IP address and port number together is also called as something called as a socket address. Okay, so many of the times we refer to IP addresses, sometimes we talk about port numbers, and sometimes we talk about socket addresses. All the three actually, like IP address and port number, generally go together, and therefore there's a common name to both of them. It's called a socket address. Okay, so generally when we're talking about a port number, it cannot be independent of an IP address. When we talk about just an IP address, it will only let us know about the machine which it is talking to, but it won't tell us about which process it's talking to. So the process communication happens through something called as ports, and we'll be looking at these ports in a few minutes. Okay, and the last address which we always need is something called as a data link layer address or a medium access control address. So that's called a MAC address. Okay, so MAC stands for medium access control, okay, or a media access control, depending on whether you're using singular or plural. So the MAC address is something which is very similar to an IMEI number on a mobile phone. Okay, it's a hard-coded address, cannot change. Whereas if you look at a phone number in your, every mobile phone has a phone number, that's like an IP address, right? So you might be aware of all these things in the lectures which you might have attended before this. You might have come to know. So now let us look at some of the network commands, which again, these are some things which you might have done before, but I would like to revise them before I go further and into deep diving, because I need to make sure that everybody knows what these commands stand for and what they do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at some of the various basic commands, okay, which are being used over the internet for communication. These include things like ping. Okay, everybody knows ping. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so that so everybody can see the screen now, right? So I'm doing Windows R, which will start my run. Okay, and then I type CMD on the run, which is to invoke my command prompt. Okay, or then I press Control Shift Enter. Okay, so the reason why I do Control Shift and Enter is because it allows me to start my command prompt in an elevated mode. An elevated mode means that I'm now logged in as an administrator into my command prompt. So I can execute all types of commands. Okay, there will be no restrictions because now I'm what we call as in networking as a root user, okay, or an administrator. Okay, so now on the command prompt, okay, let me go to my desktop. it's not required for me to go to my desktop.
Sir, sorry to interrupt, but your audio is very low.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Is it better now?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Okay, so I think I have to hold the mic to very close to my face.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, let me just. Okay, let me use my left hand to do this now.
Yes, now
Okay,
it is clear.
yeah, all right. So on the command prompt, okay, I will use the command called as ifconfig. If you're using a Windows machine, okay, it will be ipconfig. Okay, so most of you all, if you're using a Windows machine, it will be ipconfig. So now what you see over here is my Wi-Fi address. Okay, so my IP address is 192.168.31.98. Okay, and I'm using a subnet mask called 255.255.255.0, and my default gateway, which is my router at my home, also is 192.168.31.1. Okay, so this tells me who I am, and that's important. Before I start doing the other commands, let me know, so that I need to know which devices I'm using. So you will see there are various network adapters on my laptop. The wireless adapter is what I'm using right now. The Ethernet adapter or the Bluetooth adapter is currently disconnected. You will see the Ethernet adapter is there at the start as well, which is the cable. If you're using a desktop, you might have an Ethernet adapter connected. Okay, so depending on what you are using, you might see different data over here. Now you can always do ipconfig/all. Okay, a /all will allow you to see much more details about each of the adapters, even if they are disconnected. So currently we are only seeing information about the wireless adapter, but when I put /all, I would be able to see much more information about other devices. With Wi-Fi, I will be able to see actually even more. So with my Wi-Fi, what you can see now is that my IP address is DHCP configured. So it's DHCP stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, which means that my IP address is not a fixed address. It's not a static address. It has been provided to my machine on a lease. So you can see that the lease was obtained on the 27th of May at 4 p.m. evening, and it expires on the 29th of May, okay, at 3 a.m. Okay, so that's the lease which has been obtained, and when it was obtained and when it expires, my machine can obviously renew that lease at any given point of time before the expiry. If it expires, then it will have to apply for a new lease, and the lease is granted by the DHCP server. In this case, it will be the router at my home. Okay, so my router is also, so my hotspot which I'm using is also a DHCP server, has a DHCP server inbuilt into it. Okay, and therefore it can do that. So if you have ever used that Geo device which we call as GeoFi, it has this small box which you can carry around, okay, to create your own personal hotspots or personal Wi-Fi zones. That small device which you carry around, okay, which is generally available for 1,000 rupees in the market, that device would also have a DHCP server inbuilt. Okay, so a DHCP server is not something which is a big server. It's a small piece of software which is running inside some hardware. Okay, in this case, it is a router in my home, but it could be as small as I told you. It could be built into a GeoFi device or some small device which is powered by a battery as well. Okay, so many of the times when we talk about servers are not necessarily very, very big, huge devices. Okay, now this DHCP server, if you see, has the same IP address as my gateway, 192.168.31.1. So my default gateway and my DHCP are one and the same, including my DNS server, that is my domain naming server. So whenever we type the name of a website on my browser, it actually gets converted into an IP address. Who does that? So the responsibility of converting the name, that is the host name, to an IP address is the job of the DNS server. Okay, and this DNS server is what is going to convert it for my machine. If it does not know the name, suppose I type a name of a website which is very, very new, for the first time my DNS server has seen it, then it will contact its superior DNS server on the internet. So every DNS server has okay, a parent server. Okay, and the parent server will answer to my DNS server about the IP address of the website or the machine which I want to connect to. Okay, so it's built in a what we call as a hierarchical fashion. Okay, the topmost servers on the internet are called the root servers. They are the topmost servers in terms of the DNS servers. Okay, and that's because of which the entire internet works. Okay, now you will also see other devices. Each device, even though it is disconnected, will show you something called as a physical address. So if you see this physical address, okay, so this physical address is what I was talking to you about. Every device, every machine would have this, which is the MAC address. Okay, so my laptop will have multiple physical addresses because it has multiple interface cards. Okay, it has multiple network interface cards. So you have a physical address for my Bluetooth, you have a physical address for my Wi-Fi. If you go to my LAN card, which is my Ethernet, it will have its own physical address. Okay, this address will remain same. It is a static address. It won't change if I switch off my computer for many days. It will not change if I move my laptop from one network to another. It won't change. Okay, all right. So now let us look at a command called as ping. So what I'm doing with ping, I'm pinging a website. The most popular website of all obviously is Google. So let's just ping quickly Google and check what happens. So when I ping Google, I get a response from Google. Okay. So I sent 4 ICMP messages. Okay. This is Internet Control Messaging Protocol. When I use a ping command, what I'm doing is I'm actually sending 4 packets. Okay, 4 ICMP packets, which are hi hello packets. These packets go to the www.google.com, and Google server responds in return with a hi. Okay, and that's what is stored over here. So what is shown on your screen right now, that 4 times the message went and 4 times I received a reply. So you will see that the packets sent were 4, the received packets were 4, and the loss, that means no packets were lost, and therefore my 0% loss has occurred. Okay, it will also show me the minimum time required and the maximum time required for the packet to do the round trip, and the average is 5 milliseconds. Okay, so this is information about, so this helps me identify if my machine is connected to the internet or not. Okay, even without opening a browser, I can directly do this and find out if my machine is connected. Another thing which I could do, okay, is I could run a command, okay, called as trace rt. Let me just clear this. So trace rt, okay, also called as trace root. Okay, in Windows we write it as trace rt. In Linux machines we will write it as trace root. Okay, allows us to check the route between your device and any device on the internet. Okay, so currently I'm connecting. Why am I doing this? Okay, please understand, towards the end of the session I will be teaching you some of the very important basics of how how hacking happens. Okay, so I've devised I'm going to teach you a game by which you can learn hacking. Okay, the basics of hacking at least. Okay, so if you're interested, you need to concentrate on the topics which we are doing right now. All right, so if you see this, what you will see that my packet, which when I tried to trace the route to www.google.com, which is 172.217.166.164, it actually traveled through 7 hops. So my message took 7 hops to reach 172.217.166.164. Now these 7 hops, okay, were firstly to my router. So 192.168.31.1 is actually my router. Okay, I'm using a router which is made in China, so therefore you will see Xiaoxiang as the name of my router. Okay, which is because I'm using a router which is made by Xiaomi. Okay, an MI router. So that's the name of my router and that's the IP address. Okay, then it goes to Devoice, which is my ISP, my internet service provider. Okay, so that is the name of my internet service provider. Then it goes to another router of device itself, till it goes to some other router, then it goes to another router, then it goes to another router, till it reaches Google. So it takes 7 hops for a packet to travel from my machine to the Google server before it gives me a reply. So it will take 7 hops coming back. All right, so in this way I can trace route to any device or any machine on the internet. Okay, the next uh, command is an interesting command which is called as the netstat command. Okay, so the netstat command, if you just use it without any, so NET, network statistics. Okay, netstat stands for network statistics. If you use the netstat command without any options, it will give me the current connections which are, which are going on to my computer, from my computer or to my computer. So the netstat will give me the network statistics of my computer. What you will see now is a lot of 192.168.31.98, which is my IP address, colon the port numbers. So this is basically the socket address. So as I told you, IP address and port number together is called a socket address. So what you see over here is there is a socket address connecting to various devices. So I have a website which is on in my Mozilla, Firefox Mozilla, which is telehack. So it is, this line indicates there is an HTTP connection established between my machine and a website called telehack using the protocol HTTP. Okay, that means telehack's port number 80 is being used, because here we are not getting the port number because HTTP default port number is 80. Okay, whereas when you look at my machine, you will see a port number which is 57937. You will see that every connection uses a different port number. So there are so many ports which are currently active on my machine. Okay, they might be in different states. These states are at the last column. So when it is an established state, that means this connection is currently going on. Okay, so it is using HTTP protocol at the application layer and the TCP protocol at the transport layer. Okay, this is what I can come to know while looking at this. Now this is important to identify the kind of connections which are happening on your machine. Okay, what ports are open, so you can know what is happening. Now this is only TCP information. If I want more, I can do netstat -a, which will give me TCP and UDP. So it will give me all the protocols. So now I know not only the TCP ports which are open, but also the UDP ports which are open on my machine. Okay, and whom they are connected to. So when they are not connected, star means they are doing something called as a broadcast. Okay, or we are unable to see the address. Okay, some of these addresses are local addresses which are connecting to a device on my machine itself, probably. Okay, so I can see all the connections which are happening. Okay, whether they are TCP or UDP, if I use the command netstat -a. Okay, everybody's clear up till now? Am I audible to everybody? Yeah. Okay. Now I will do something called as netstat -b. Okay, what is B? What if I want to know? So you remember I told you that this connection, which 192.168 to telehack is connected via my Mozilla Firefox. Suppose I didn't know that. Suppose I didn't know that ये connection कौन से exe file से मतलब which program is connecting to. Suppose I find some suspicious website over here, some suspicious IP address over here, which I'm not sure ये कहाँ का है, किसने connect किया है. I can identify which program or which process is talking to that destination by writing netstat -b. So when I do a netstat -b, okay, you will require to be an administrator for this command to run. Okay, what you will see now is, okay, so let me hunt for, so you will see that Zoom, because I'm using Zoom to communicate with you all, is using these many ports currently on my machine. Okay, out of which only this is currently active. Okay, so my Zoom connection, through which I'm talking to you all right now, is connected from my machine using port number 58569. Okay, and it is connected to the Zoom server, which is IP address 52.109.88.36, using an HTTP secured connection through which this data is actually then going around and coming to your machines. Okay, this is in the established state. These other connections are a time wait, means that might have been created and then might be my connection was lost. Okay, so you will find lots of Zoom connections also. There might be multiple threads of Zoom running on my machine. One for the chat window, one for the video, one for the audio. You will also see the Firefox, okay, is using this. Okay, so this TCP connection is being used by Firefox. Okay, so firefox.exe. So this way I can come to know which connection is being used by which program on my machine. So you'll see a lot of connections are being done by Firefox, okay, behind the scenes without me coming to know. Also, there are I have something called as OneDrive installed on my laptop. OneDrive is used for, it's a cloud storage by Microsoft. Therefore, OneDrive is also connecting. There is also some connections by Office, click to run. Okay, Office is also is using my internet. SVC host is a inbuilt utility within Windows. Google Drive, so I also have a Google Drive synchronization happening behind the scenes, which is also being shown over here. So you can see what all applications or softwares or programs are actually connecting to the internet using netstat -b. Okay, uh, you could also do something called as a naming server lookup. Okay, so this tells me the name of my DNS server. Okay, it tells me the name of my DNS server. Let me just do a CLS. Okay, again, NS lookup. So currently tells me that my the DNS server which I'm connected to is 192.168.31.1. Okay, and the name of that is Xiang. Okay. Also, I can find out details about, if I know somebody else's IP address, I can find out information about that. So if you remember, my computer was connected to something called as telehack.com. Suppose I don't know who that telehack.com is. Suppose I come to know that my computer is connected to some website. I don't know who that website belongs to. So I can check that by using a command called whois. Now, this is a utility which I have already downloaded on my desktop. So it is on my desktop. Therefore, you will see that there is a whois.exe on my machine. You can, it's freely downloadable from Microsoft's website. Okay, so if you just Google whois.exe download from Microsoft website, you will get it, and you can put it on your desktop, and then using a command prompt you can execute it, and I can check who is www rather just telehack.com. So this will connect, use something called as the whois server, and it will give me information about this website. Okay, so it tells me that this website, okay, creation date, this domain name creation date was in 2010. Okay, and its original expiry is up to 2024. Okay, the reseller who sold this domain. Okay, so if suppose you buy it from suppose you have your own domain name, and if you buy it from GoDaddy, then your reseller is GoDaddy, so it will show you GoDaddy over here. Okay, so here it's showing Dotster. Okay, so that's Dotster is like a GoDaddy. It's a a reseller for domain names. Then you will also see address information to the person whom this is registered to. So it has been registered to Domain Privacy Service, FBO that. Okay, and it will show you some details, like it is registered in the city of Burlington, Massachusetts in USA, along with the phone number for registration and the official email ID for registration. So if it is an Indian website, so if you connect to an Indian website, you will be able to see that as well. Okay, so you can test it for not all websites information is available. Okay, so there are some websites, like for example, if you go to my website, so this is my personal website, and you will be able to see some information. For example, you will be able to see that I have purchased it from GoDaddy. Okay, so the domain name is asif.r.me, and the registrar is GoDaddy, who's the one who sold it to me from where I bought. But the other information, like my address and everything, has been hidden. Okay, the only information you can come to know about from this is that asifr.me has been registered in the state of Maharashtra, India. Okay, so you can't come to know much more details like you could come to know in the case of techhack.com. Okay, telehack.com, sorry, rather. Okay, so telehack.com gives you much more information like the DNS servers which it is using and all of that. Okay, some of these are available over here as well, but many of the other information like my home address or something is not visible over here. Clear? So whois can be used by you to find out about any domain name, So suppose I do who is kccollege.edu.in. It's edu.in, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so what you can come to know is very little because all that information is not available. The only thing you know is that the organization is KC College, where it has been registered. So the registration has been done on the name of KC College. Okay, but what I can come to know is that the last time it was registered, it was in 2016. Okay, so many of the data is not available because it has been protected, which is good thing. Okay, sometimes this information is used by hackers, to launch something called as a social engineering attack. So they know who the owner of the account is, and then they try to befriend them over social media and something like that, and try to guess their passwords and stuff like that. Okay, so that's an important thing. So now you have some kind of basic command knowledge of network. There are many other commands obviously out there, and there are lots of options within the commands which I've told you. Obviously, I don't have the time to go into the details of each and every command. Okay, now let me come to something which all of y'all might you all might like and enjoy before I take you all onto a small little, hacking endeavor. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so we have something called as an access point, a gateway. Okay, let me just do it using my own router. Okay, so you will be able to see my router configuration. So what I do now is I go to my browser. Okay, and on my browser, oops. Okay. Okay, so on my browser, I go to I connect to my Wi-Fi router. Okay, so my Wi-Fi router has an inbuilt HTTP server in it. Okay, okay, it has an inbuilt HTTP server in it. Let me connect to my server. So this depends on your router to router. Each router might have its own different way of connecting. Some routers connect using their IP addresses. Some routers have a domain, a local name. This name is not connect. You cannot use it over the internet. This will only work if you are connected physically to my router. Okay, or if you also have a Xiaomi router at home and MI router at home, then this IP address, this address will work. If you have any other router, you will have to open the manual of your router, which you must have got when you bought the router. Box के अंदर जो manual होता है, they will tell you how to connect to your configuration of your router. Okay, so as I told you, a router is a device which connects to two networks. So in this case, my router connects an Ethernet network, which is 802.3, to an 802.11 network, which is a Wi-Fi network. Okay, so I have two types of networks which are getting connected over here. Okay, so on the left hand side, what you see is devices which are using Wi-Fi in my home. On the right hand side, what you see is the internet. Okay, and the way this is connected is through a gateway router, which is my router, which I call it as Skynet 2.0. Okay, so Skynet 2.0 is my router, which is sitting in between the devices which are at my home and the internet. So you can see currently there are 6 devices which are connected on my network. Can you see this? There are 6 devices there. Okay, and I can get statistics about these devices. So I can also know which of these devices are using how much information. Okay, so this Chinese name belongs to my Android TV. Okay, so I have an Android TV which is being used by my kids right now to watch, some maybe some movies or videos, um, and that is what is using this 40% of my bandwidth. Okay, then there are some Android phones, my wife's phone, and my laptop. Okay, so that's my laptop. So all the devices which are in my at my home are all being shown over here. Okay, so if I find a device which I don't know, then I would know that somebody is hacking into my Wi-Fi. Okay, so this is where I would be able to find out if somebody is hacking into my Wi-Fi. Okay, I would see a device which I generally don't see. So this will only be known to you if you keep checking your configuration from time to time. Okay, if you do it for the first time, don't think anything. If you just see something, don't worry about it as being a hacker till you check all your devices physically. So you can turn off all your devices and turn them one by one on, and you will see one by one they'll come appear in your screen. Okay, it will also show you the downloads and the uploads which are happening. Okay, now let us go to my devices. You will actually see the devices and my IP address. So if you remember, my laptop was 192.168.31.98. Okay, so that's my laptop. So that's Asif HP laptop. That's my IP address, and this is my MAC address. So I can turn on and off my internet connection to any of the devices using my router. So I have configurations over here. Okay, similarly, I can go to the internet and I can check my internet speed. I can check the DNS server which my router is connected to. So if you remember, my router is 192.168.31.1, but that is a DNS server for my devices. So my devices, when it needs DNS information, they go to my router. But when my router needs DNS information, it goes to the internet, and these are the two DNS servers, the primary and the secondary DNS servers, which have been configured for my router. And all the information which comes to my router goes out to the gateway, which is my ISP's gateway. This is my internet service provider gateway. Okay, and my router has 2 IP addresses. Please understand this. My router has 2 IP addresses. One IP address is for connecting to my Wi-Fi, which is 192.168.31.1. But when it connects to the internet, on the other side, it requires a separate IP address, which is a pure IP address, an IP address which you can use from your home to check. You can ping this IP address. What will happen is when you ping this IP address, you will have actually sent a packet from your home to my router. Okay, it won't enter further because the router, this IP address belongs to my router only, not to any of my devices. So it won't go any further. There is a firewall inbuilt which will prevent it from going inside. It will prevent attacks from happening on my network. But you can actually send packets up to my router. Okay, and that's a very important way how people are able to connect or find the location of a person on the internet. Okay, so once you are communicating with me, you will be able to find the IP address using something called as packet sniffing or packet tracers. Okay, we will do something like packet analysis if time permits today. Okay, you can also test your, so my router has this feature which allows me to test the internet speed. So I'm using something like 50 Mbps, so it's divided between upload and download, which is okay. Now if I go to my settings, this gives me a whole lot of other information. So this is the name of my Wi-Fi. This is called the SSID. This is the name of the Wi-Fi. So when you are at home and you want to, when a new device, if you go to a friend's home and you want to connect to his Wi-Fi, you ask Wi-Fi ka naam kya hai? That is the SSID. Now this SSID can be hidden. So I can hide this network. So when I hide this network, nobody who comes to my home, if he scans or searches for the Wi-Fi, won't be able to see my Skynet 2.0. Okay, that's a layer of security. If I want to build in, I can do it. Okay, so when you are in so when you scan your mobile phone in your at your home, you will be seeing so many different Wi-Fi connections of your neighbors. Okay, that's because they are not hidden. Okay, that's because they are not hidden. If you want to hide them, you can hide them, okay, by configuring that in your router. Okay, I also have configuration about the strength of the signal and all of that, which is up to me. I also have network settings. So if you remember, my network IP addresses are all 192.168 and so on and so forth. That all can be configured as well. Okay. So I've given a configuration for automatically doing everything. Let me go to the security. Here I can block any IP address or MAC address. So if I find in my Wi-Fi network somebody which is unknown, so suppose I think that suppose a neighbor of mine is actually every day hacking into my Wi-Fi and using my Wi-Fi, I can find out his MAC address and I can block it over here. So I can add manually the name and the MAC address of so I can put the name of my neighbor or whatever. I can put somebody is hacking into my network and put the MAC address of the device which I want to block internet access to. So once I put that, doesn't matter, even if the person has my password of my network, he will not be able to access it. Okay, so that is the way you can create a block list. A block list will be people whom you do not want internet access to be given to. So once I block his devices, okay, they will automatically not be able to do this. Yes, Renuka. So we hide the network so that nobody knows that it exists. Okay, now how do you connect? So you can connect by manually putting the name and the password. So like you put in a username. So when you go to Gmail asks you your username and the password, right? So when the Wi-Fi name is hidden, you have to enter the name of the Wi-Fi and the password, okay, manually. So it will not work through the normal search operation. Okay, so there is a way of adding a manually a Wi-Fi. If you see in your mobile phones also, when you search for Wi-Fi, if you see there is an option to adding manually a Wi-Fi. That's where you can do that. Okay, so then you will have to add the SSID and the password, all of that, all of those details manually. Okay, so that's a higher level of security for your Wi-Fi. Okay, then in my LAN settings, you will see that I have configured the IP addresses. So 192.168.31.5 to 254. So that is almost 249 IP addresses can be assigned by my router. And the least which is it gives it for is 720 minutes. Okay. I'm sorry, this keeps popping up all the time for me. Okay, so the LAN IP address is 192.168.31.1. Okay, I can change that and automatically everything else will change. But right now, if I do that, all my connections will be lost. So I don't want to, disconnect from you all right now. And this is all the information, about my router and all of that. Also, there is something called as advanced settings in my machine, which I can use to do something really, really interesting. Okay, my router is very, very customizable. So what I can do is I can actually look at each individual device, its information, and check its upload and download limits. I can configure this over here. I can edit and I can configure each device the bandwidth which I want to assign. So I have my children who use their mobile phones as well. Okay, I can limit the bandwidth which they get so that they don't use up all my bandwidth. And when I'm connecting for my official purpose, I'm unable to get good reception. I can control that if I want to. So I can configure the limits for my speed for my each of my devices over here. So if I can give more speed to my television if I want to, so that my television can be used to watch 4K or high definition movies. I can give it less for some devices which are not that important to me. I can control all of that. Okay, that is called quality of service. Okay, this happens through the transport layer. The TCP protocol allows me to do this. Okay, that is called bandwidth throttling, and I can control what kind of quality of service. The DHCP static IP assignment I can do. If I don't want to use DHCP, I can assign IP addresses statically also to my devices. So suppose I want to stop my DHCP server and I want to do my manual assignment to each and every device, I can do that. Okay. This is not required. Port forwarding is something which is used when I want to allow a connection to happen from outside into my network. So suppose if I'm running a server on my in my home on my laptop, but this laptop is never visible from outside, so that 192.168.31.98, that IP address is only a local IP address. You cannot connect, you cannot ping me from your home, because that IP address is not valid on the internet. Okay, as you remember, if you remember the status, okay, so in the status you see the what is visible from outside is only my router. Whatever is behind my router is actually hidden from the internet. Nobody knows on the internet कि मेरे घर के अंदर कितने devices हैं. Now you all know because I have shown it to you. But from outside, from the internet, nobody can get in and test it. So if I want some device, if one of the device I want to be accessible from the internet, I can use port forwarding for that. So what will happen is somebody connects to my router on a particular port. I will forward that request to one of the devices at a particular port by putting those settings inside port forwarding. So suppose I want to host my own web server at my home, where I want to host my own website. I don't want to pay GoDaddy or anybody. Then you can do that by creating a HTTP server at your home, and then doing you can put a port forwarding request for port number 80. Okay, so all the requests which will come to port number 80 on the router will be sent to the server on your in your home. Okay, so you can create a port forwarding address over here. Okay, currently I have not set up anything because it is a security problem if I do that. Okay, so unless I know exactly what I'm doing, I should not do this at home. Okay, and some of you all might be aware of VPNs. VPNs is a way of securely connecting to servers on the internet. If you are using a corporate network, many of the corporate networks will require you to connect to the corporate server using a virtual private network. So VPN does what? It basically tunnels your packet. So nobody on the internet can read your packets. It is encrypted. Okay. And it goes to a third party server first before it goes to your company's server in a very, very secure fashion. Okay. And then there are various other additional securities and stuff like that. All right. So everybody got to see the different topics which I was just discussing right now. Okay. So any questions up till now? Before I start teaching you how to hack a computer.
So somebody has put up a question here. What if someone uses NetSpot to find out hidden Wi-Fi to detect the SSID?
Yes, of course, there are many ways you can identify certain things. Okay. So every security can be broken. So it doesn't mean that you stop using security. So like आपका घर का ताला तोड़ा जा सकता है, आपके घर का दरवाजा तोड़ा जा सकता है, खिड़की तोड़ी जा सकती है, बट उसका मतलब ये नहीं कि आप उसको लॉक नहीं करोगे. Okay, you don't want to make the job easy for somebody. Okay, so you don't want to make it easy for anybody. So what you would want to do is you want to make it as difficult as possible for anybody to get into your home, right? So exactly, you need to try and do whatever you can to make it difficult for somebody to enter your network. All right.
Thank you so much. I think your query is answered, Yusuf. Yes, sir. Please continue.
Yeah. There is something called as NAT in general. NAT is network address translation. Okay, network address translation is used along with port forwarding for communicating with the outside world. My router automatically does NAT. Okay, which is when I connect to my router, so when I connect to the internet, or suppose I want to connect to Facebook, my router sends the request on my behalf to Facebook. So my laptop sends the request to my router, and my router forwards it on my behalf to the Facebook server. Okay, so that is called network address translation. So there are ways of protecting your Wi-Fi using something called as security. So you have the ones which is very commonly used nowadays is WPA2. Okay, so WPA2 is a level of security which you can use. Ansh, I would like to know what you would want to do with that. See, without port forwarding, it depends on the devices which you are using. Okay, so it is very, very dependent on the kind of devices which you are using and the purpose which you are using for. Okay, so without port forwarding, it will be very difficult to do it on a laptop. You will have to have a specific router which allows you to do that. Yeah, if your router does not have port forwarding, then it is absolutely difficult. That's what I said. It depends on the devices which you're using. Many of the most of the routers actually have it, but they won't make it available to you directly. Just my router allows me to change that. Many of the routers don't allow you to change it because it can be misused. Okay, it can be misused, and therefore as a security they do not give you that open access. If you are able to get into the router's firmware, you will be able to do that, but that is something which is beyond the scope of today's session for me to even get into. Okay, so I've spoken about hacking, and I think everybody is interested about that. So I'm not going to teach you hacking using some very, very sophisticated tools. Okay, because sophisticated tools use करके hack करना बहुत आसान है. Okay, it's like if I have a tool, you can hack anything, right? जो वो बटन दबा के सब कुछ कर सकता है. I will teach you today the basic logic behind it. Okay, and how things work. For this, I will first talk to you about something called as telnet and FTP. Okay, this is how the original how hacking was developed, how hacking actually came about. Starting say hacking kaise hua. So during the ages where we didn't have graphical user interfaces and stuff like that, we always used command line. Okay, so on the command line, okay, I think I've closed my command prompt. So if you remember, CMD, Control Shift and Enter. Okay, so this will allow me to again Control Shift and Enter, as I told you. It will allow me to get elevated privileges. So I'm now a root user, and now I can use a command called as telnet. Now telnet allows me to remotely connect to a computer anywhere in the world. Okay, telnet is an open protocol. Okay, it is actually a protocol of the application layer, and telnet, what I'm using is actually telnet command, which I'm using is actually called as a telnet client. ये आपके विंडोज में इनबिल्ट होता है. विंडोज फीचर्स जो होते हैं ना, विंडोज के फीचर्स, उसमें अगर आप उसको यू कैन इनेबल इट. सो इफ यू ऐड रिमूव प्रोग्राम्स में जाके इफ यू गो टू इनेबल एंड डिसेबल विंडोज फीचर्स, वहां पे यू विल बी एबल टू सी telnet client. So you can enable that, and then you will be able to use the command on your command prompt. Now telnet space, I can give the name of any machine, and it will try to connect to that machine over the internet using a protocol called as telnet. Now it will connect only if that machine has a telnet server working on it. Okay, so I'm using a ready-made server on the internet which is called telehack.com, just to demonstrate how telnet works. Okay, so when I do telnet telehack.com, you will see that it got connected. Now this is not on my machine. This is a website on the internet. Okay, it's a server on the internet. Okay, and it is connected to telehack.com. Okay, and you will see that currently that this time is according is an American time, so it's 4:46 a.m. in California right now. Okay, and there are 70 users who have connected right now. Okay, and there are 26,000 hosts on the network, machines on the network. Okay, if you want to do this, you can do it as well. Okay. So when you connect to telehack, the first thing you will need to do is, if you're connecting it for the first time, you will need to create a new user. Okay. And the best part about telehack is that it allows you to create a user. Okay. If you type the new user command, so over here, you have all these commands which you can do. Okay. Let's try a very simple command, which I don't even need to log in for. I can just write joke and it will give me a joke. Okay. You might make the sense of the joke or you might not make a sense of the joke. It depends on. Okay. So the Revlon effect, our only service is lip service. Okay. So if you know that Revlon is a, you know, a lipstick brand or whatever. So they can just write joke, and every time you write a joke, you'll get a joke. If you put a date, it will tell you the current date. Now, this date or this joke and everything is coming from a remote server to me. Okay. And into my command prompt. So internet used to be operated using a command prompt all the time. Okay. Now, this server has done something called as gamification. Gamification means it tries to teach people basics of hacking. Okay. Using command line. Okay, in a game format. So you try to basically try to, you know, learn how to do these things, how to use these tools in a form of a game. So these are actual commands. You know, the commands which we are going to use are actual commands which can be used on the internet, but it has been telehack allows you to use it in a virtually safe environment, whereby you are not committing any crime, because any hacking activity is actually a crime. Okay. But this is just to you know, develop your skills, and you can then try to become an ethical hacker if you are really really interested. Telnet client आपको एक्टिवेट करने के लिए you will have to turn on the Windows features, on off करना पड़ेगा उसको. Okay, Telnet client के लिए. Yeah, somebody's answered that. That's good. Okay. If you have putty, otherwise our option is, अगर आपके पास putty है, PUTTY, अगर आप लोगों ने यूज किया होगा कॉलेज में, तो putty अगर आपके पास सॉफ्टवेयर है, तो putty में भी काम कर सकते हो आप लोग. You can use putty to tell. If you don't have all of this, okay, let me just do it very simply. If you don't have all of this, don't worry, just go to your browser. Okay, you have a browser, right? Everybody has a browser. You directly go to telehack.com on the browser. Okay, if you go to telehack.com, you will see the same thing. Telehack.com पे भी आपको same चीज दिखेगा. You don't need a you don't need a command prompt. You don't need anything. You don't need telling. I was trying to show you on command prompt just because I can do it on command prompt. But if you don't have a command prompt, or if you don't have Telnet client, you can directly go to telehack.com and do the same thing over there. Okay, so you will get the same thing, and you can create a new user by typing new user, and then it will ask you for the username, password, and email address and whatever details if you want. अगर आप email address डालते हो, तो then it will send you a code which you have to verify. Okay, all that will happen on the command prompt. Okay, in this case it will be in a browser, but actually it is supposed to be, you can do it on a command prompt as well. Now what I do is I log in. I have already created my account, so I will just log in. My username is Asif. Okay, I put in my password. Okay, so I had logged in the morning just to check, you know, for you all. So it tells me that the last login was 9 hours ago. Okay, I can, so this @ symbol is a prompt for my account, so that I have logged in. It indicates that I have logged in. If I do ls or dir, it will tell me all the files which are there on my in my account. So these are all files which are inbuilt, given to me. Okay, the file which you would want to read is telehack.txt. This is the file. If you start reading it and doing the steps one by one and trying to understand what it is, you will learn the entire, you know, you will learn the basics of hacking on your own. You can, today I don't have the time to teach everything. I will show you some small demonstrations, but you can read this file telehack.txt one by one. Practice each command as they have given you. Practice the options. The more you learn, the more you develop the skills, you will be able to use them, you know, to learn a much more in depth about networking. Okay, so let me just give you some interesting things. So let's do certain things. Let me find out my host name. Host name is the name of my computer. Okay, now this computer will understand I have connected remotely. So this is the name of the telehack server. So the telehack server ka naam hai telehack. Okay, on this I can check the DNS entries that is called as hosts. HOSTS. So when I put HOSTS, I will see the various machines which are available on telehack.com or through telehack, what I can connect to. So you will see that these are the names of the host in the first column. Okay. The second column is the name of the organization. Third column is the name of the location. These were actual machines at one point of time. They were actually, right now they are a simulation, but they were actually there working in the internet during the time when ARPANET was existing, and just the new internet had just started. So these were actual machines and these were actual computers which were available. Okay. You can go ahead by pressing your space bar. So you can see the next screen and the next screen and the next screen. And you will see there are so many. If you just do Shift G, Shift G is a is by which you can go to the end of the screen. Okay. So there are many, many, many. So you will see there is a Yale University, YALE. Can you see that YALE? Okay. Yale University ka host name is Yale, YALE. So what I will do is I will do Control C to end this hosts ka listing. Okay. And then I will ping YALE, Yale. Okay. So Control C will break the host printing. Now I'm doing PING. Ping आपको मैंने already सिखाया है. So ping is something which you already know. But now I'm pinging in telehacks. I'm pinging a device called Yale. So you will see a response coming. This will not stop. This will keep pinging. I can also do a trace route. TRACEROUTE now. Okay, because this is not Windows machine. So I can trace a trace route to Yale. Okay, so you will find that Yale is connected to Telehack in 4 hops. From Telehack to Oracle, Oracle to Anvil, Anvil to Apollo, Apollo to Yale. Okay, in the real world, if you do something like this, you will also be able to see trace route, and but you will see, जैसे मैंने आपको already दिखाया था, मेरे घर से Google connect करके. So you will see that way, right? Now, what I do is, let's do something. Okay, let's see if I can connect to Yale. So let me see if I can do telnet Yale. So now I'm trying to see if, okay, so host is not in netstat. Netstat means the connections which I can do. So netstat currently will give me the networks which are available to me. So you will see that there is a network which is Oracle. There's a network which is PyMast, Adaptex, Ferguson, so on, so forth. The asterisk indicates that I have already hacked that network. Okay, asterisk indicates that I have hacked it. In the morning, I was just, before doing the session today, I wanted to just test ye chal raha hai ki nahi. So I tried to hack Oracle and I was able to hack it using a tool, okay, available in Telehack. So let's try to hack some other thing. So let's hack Ferguson, for example. Okay, so now how do I hack Ferguson? Let me do telnet Ferguson. तो पहले वो ऑन है कि नहीं पता चलेगा. Okay, connected हुआ मतलब it is on. Now I don't have a username, so I will try to enter as a guest. Let me see if I can enter as a guest. GUEST, guest. Oh yes, it allowed me to enter as a guest. Okay, but as a guest, I have very limited possibility. I can't do much. So if I do ls, I can see some files. Okay, but if I try to change anything on the machine, I won't be able to do that because I'm a guest user. Okay, so I can just do a buy, and my telnet connection will be terminated to the device which is called as Ferguson. Now to hack Ferguson, I have multiple options. Now currently I'll use the simplest option. I have a exe file on my device. At the rate, please understand, I'm on my home machine. That is my telehack machine. So right now I'm in telehack. Now in telehack, I have a machine. I have a exe files. If you see the, so I will do dir star.exe. I will do a star.exe. I will be able to see all the files which are executable. Okay. These are different tools which I can use to do hacking. Currently, the easiest one which I can use right now is port hack. Just to give you, the port hack क्या होता था? In the good old days, okay, we used to check each and every port available on a device and see if we can hack into the device. Okay, so we do a port hack to Ferguson. So this is a small tool. Okay, so now it is probing. It is checking which ports are open, which sockets are open on Ferguson. So I see that there are in total 6 ports which are currently available. मैंने आपको दिखाया था ना मेरे मशीन पे कितने सारे ports open है. वैसे ही उन्होंने यहाँ पे चेक किया है कि उसके मशीन पे, Ferguson के मशीन पे which are the ports available. This can be checked remotely. So I'm not connected to Ferguson right now. Now I will test one by one each port. So the first port I'm going to test is 21, which is the FTP port of Ferguson. So it is asking me port to try. I'm trying to hack the server of Ferguson using port number 21. So it attempts to do that. It tries to do something called as a buffer overrun. Buffer overrun is the way you can exploit and enter into a machine. But luckily, FTP is safe. So I will use another port, which is 23, which is available. I will try if that can be overrun, and no, that was also unsuccessful. So I will use 79, which is for a finger utility. Again, that was not successful. See, this is how hacking happens. It doesn't happen in the first attempt. आप कुछ भी guess करोगे वो right होगा. Okay, so you have to be patient. I've done 145, 165. Let's see if 165 works. Okay, and the last one is 513. Let's see if that works. And the last one was a success. So you have to be patient. So what you will see is Ferguson security has been compromised. Port hack has been completed. And now on the Ferguson machine, Asif ka account has been created. So what has been done by this port hack utility, that my user name account has been created on the Ferguson machine. How do I know that? I can do a netstat. When I do netstat, now you'll see Ferguson के आगे asterisk आ गया है. Asterisk का meaning है कि I have already hacked it. Now, if I go to Ferguson by using telnet, it will again ask me for a login. This time, I don't give it as a guest login. I give my username, Asif. And now I put my password. ये अगर मैं पहले करता तो नहीं काम करता. Now it works. I have gained access into the machine. It tells me that I have logged in, okay, using the username password Asif. This is how earlier, this is how port scanning and port attacks used to happen using buffer overflows. Okay, this is just one form of an attack. There are other attacks which are, which were done using dial-up connections. आजकल Wi-Fi के लिए अलग tools आते हैं, okay, Ethernet के लिए अलग tools आते हैं. But the basic concepts are there in this telehack.com, which you can use, okay, to get an understanding of a deeper understanding of how machines can be, and this basically, even अगर आपको hacking नहीं भी सीख पाए तो आप इसके सारे tools, networking के details आप बहुत अच्छी तरह सीख जाओगे. TELEHACK, yes, telehack.com. Basically, traceroute cannot, VPN will never be hackable. If you're using VPN, traceroute won't work. All right. So found this interesting? Will you all go to telehack and try and learn networking commands? I like your confidence, Tane. So do try it out, okay? So you can go to the website and create a new user, okay? NEWUSER. When you go there for the first time, you have to create a new user. Okay, you can do it on command prompt. अगर आपको command prompt पे नहीं करना है, तो you can directly go and using my like Firefox Mozilla में, you can just go to telehack.com and directly you will be there, and you can start by writing new. Okay, so it will then ask you, are you under 13 years of age? You have to say no. Do you want to read the privacy policy? You say no. Then you create your own username, whatever you want. Anshu, you have interesting questions. Unfortunately, some of the questions I can't answer in a public forum. Okay. Yeah, some other people are answering for you, then you can take those. Okay. See, this is a gamification, so I can teach you very, very safely. Everybody can use this. There are certain things which you will have to graduate to slowly. The things which you learn using tools, okay, are of no use, because tools, then a hacker who uses, everything which is ready-made is not really a hacker. Okay, if all the tools which you use are, available, then a hacker has no real, anybody can hack वैसे तो बच्चे भी hack कर लेते हैं. So if you really want to explore that, start developing, the basic understanding. If you can understand the basics, if you can understand the basic commands, SNM, once you understand the tools which are, this is application layer protocols, all these which are using telnet and FTP and port scanning and all of that, then you have to understand how to start going deeper. Okay, something called as SNMP. Okay, to get information about the devices and hacking into or getting details about networking devices, and then slowly you will graduate into much, and then there will be a time where you cannot use ready-made tools. You will have to write your own code. So though it is networking, finally you will have to someday or the other write a piece of code. Okay, because every problem is unique. Ready-made tools can only do that much. All right. So that is it for today. I think we have exhausted the time. There are lots and lots of other things which I wanted to teach you all, but maybe some other day. Okay.
Sir, if we want, we can continue for another 15-20 minutes. That's
चलेगा?
okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
5:30 का आगे से
Yes.
मैं 5:30 को रुक रहा था. Okay. So then I can demonstrate something called as Wireshark to some of y'all who have never used it before. Okay. So ये telehack.com, ये आपको सब website, I'll send you the PPT, so don't worry about that. Okay. So the last part which I wanted to do was a little bit of packet analysis, to thoda sa understanding deeper about the protocols which we are using. Okay. So you can download Wireshark from this website. अभी करने की जरूरत नहीं है, अगर आपके पास नहीं है तो don't worry. Okay, just look at the demonstration and then you will be able to do it on your own. I think most of you all might even have done it during some practical. I don't know if it's part of your practicals in your syllabus.
Yes, sir, it is there. Yes.
Yeah,
For second and third year students are there, since first year still have not done anything on networking.
Okay, so are there first year students, or will this be, or if everybody knows this, then तो फिर waste.
Sir, there are first year students, but they'll be able to understand, not an issue.
Demonstrate something.
Sir, audio is not clear.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to quickly do something, maybe a simple packet demonstration, and then how to
Yes.
identify if you are being hacked. Okay, if somebody is running a port scan on you, if a port scan attack happens on you, how would you know? Okay, so let's see how you can do that. तो hack करना एक चीज है और अपने आप को protect करना अलग है. So both are important, right? So let's see. So I'm using a something called as a network analyzer or a packet analyzer called as Wireshark. You all might have done this as part of your practicals for various subjects, in your syllabus. I always like to get into the details of it in terms of the packets. Packets read करने में मुझे बहुत मजा आता है. So if you really if you're really interested in hacking, or if you're really interested in, you have to start understanding the details of the nuances of a network. Okay, so you will see all the network interfaces which are available on my machine. I am connected to my Wi-Fi. You will start seeing a graph happening. Okay, because so this is the home screen. What I do over here is I take the Wi-Fi interface, right click on my Wi-Fi interface. I will see a start capture there. So I will click on that start capture. The moment I click on start capture, it will start capturing something. Okay. So now what is it capturing? It is capturing the packets which are coming into my machine and going out of my machine. Okay. And then there is a red button on top which I will use to just stop the, because already in this few seconds jitne mein humne start kiya utne mein we were able to capture 3070 packets. Okay, so these are the packets which you are seeing. Majority of them are UDP packets currently because we are using Zoom. So my machine is sending out a lot of video packets which are containing the video, the screen and my voice and everything, which is going out as a UDP packets. Okay, so you will see them as UDP. So if I click on any of these packets, okay, you will see them that this is a frame Ethernet. You can read the headers of each of the, so the frame ka header, Ethernet header, IP header. You can read the, you might have आपको याद होगा आपके IP header starts with a version number, and so if it's IPv4, you have a version number, then a header length, then a differentiated service total length, identification number, flags, fragmentation offset, time to live, protocol ID. Okay, header checksum, source IP address, destination IP address. This is your entire IP header. If you have a UDP header, then UDP header is very simple, right? Source port, destination port, length, and checksum. There are only 4 fields. Okay. Then you have the data. Now the problem with the data currently is because it's video, the data cannot be read. Okay. Agar basic telnet या HTTP का packet होता, तो I would have been able to read it. I'll just filter if I can find an HTTP packet. Let's see. I don't think. No, there is no HTTP packet. TLS packet हो सकता है. These are packets which are using secured HTTP most of the times. Okay, so TLS is a security protocol available on the transport layer. Okay, transport layer security. This allows us to encode, so the data is available inside, but if you go over here, you will see the transmission TCP header. So the TCP header is much bigger. Source port number, destination port number, segment number, sequence number, acknowledgement number, flags, window size, checksum, so on and so forth. ये सब आपने पढ़ा होगा अगर आप लोगों ने, अगर सेकंड ईयर थर्ड ईयर में अगर आप लोगों ने TCP IP पढ़ा होगा तो. And then the layers TLS, which is the transport layer security, उसके अंदर आपको data दिखेगा. Again, this data is encrypted. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me just go to my browser. Okay. Log in. Okay, now I start my trace again, continue without saving, and then I log in using my username and my password, and I do ping Oracle. So my browser, यहाँ पे वो कुछ packets भेज रहा है. So some communication is happening, and there my packets are being captured, and I will stop it, and I will check if I can find an HTTP packet. Let's see. So now I can see HTTP packets. Okay. Because I was doing some communication with that telehack server. So now, if I look at this packet, I will see it's coming from some HTML data. So you will see that it's HTTP packet with the HTML data. Okay, so ये session information है यहाँ पे. You will see that it is going to the referrer is telehack.com. So you know that this data is going to telehack.com. Okay. These are all post requests. Post, you will remember that post में जो भी data होता है वो थोड़ा encrypted होता है. Okay, if you get a get request form online, then you will actually be able to read the data inside the packet also. Okay, so every time I type a command and send it, it's a request to a form. Okay. Now, how would I know if somebody is doing a port scan on my machine? That's another thing which I had asked you, right? So now I'm removed the filter. I will see all the packets. Now over here, I'm not able to see any reset information. So information may the info part, I'm looking for something called as a reset. Okay. Yes. So if you can see this red packet, it is showing RST. RST acknowledgement. This is a reset packet. Now this reset, एक ही reset packet है, मतलब nothing to worry about. This is a normal connection being closed. Okay. But if I see too many connections being rejected, being reset on my machine from the same IP address, that means somebody is trying to check my ports and my machine is denying him access. तो वो हर एक पोर्ट को ना बोल रहा है, ना बोल रहा है, ना बोल रहा है. तो I will see too many reset packets. If you remember when I tried one port manually, 21, 23, 79. So every time I got rejected, a reset packet was sent back to me. Okay. Now this reset packet on the client can indicate that somebody is trying to connect to a port. But अगर बहुत बार reset हो रहा है, मतलब somebody is trying to connect to all the ports and check which port is open. So this is another way of, identifying hackers or attacks on a machine. Also denial of service attacks, when you have too many packets being thrown onto your various ports to, block your ports. You can capture those packets and identify where they are coming from. And if they are coming from all different websites, that is when it is distributed denial of service. Different IP addresses from which it will come. Okay, not from a single IP address. Okay, so now let me open up for some questions, if there are any, on today's session.
May I request the participants, if you have any questions, queries, please put forward, because it's time that we relieve our today's guest speaker. So any questions you might want to ask our guest speaker, please put it forward. I think this is a brilliant opportunity for all the young hackers. I saw one comment, he's the gentleman or the ma'am, she said, I want to hack the Google itself, right, when Asif sir was demonstrating. So any more Google, Microsoft hackers here, if you need any assistance, I think this would be a golden opportunity. Okay. So yes, the Google hacker is here. The Google hacker is here, sir. And yes, please put forward your question.
Go ahead, Tane. Please ask. Remotely, yes, remotely or on the machine. On the machine, definitely easy. That's very straightforward. But if it's remotely also, it is possible. See, your VM will be using a NAT. You would be using a network address translation within your machine to do a NAT. Okay, so from the outside perspective, the NAT address might be protected. Your internal IP might be protected, but your external IP for the device will definitely be available. So one of the things which is basic common sense is that you should not have ports which are open, okay, by default. So many of the applications which we run on our machines open ports. So every application which runs on our machine opens a port, but there are certain ports which should not be opened by default. वो बिना काम के खुले नहीं रहने चाहिए. So you should not install softwares which are not in use, and you should keep checking which software is open which ports. That is what a security professional would do. Okay, so sorry, I think the question was sent to me privately, so not everybody could see the question. Let me read the question. How to identify if we are being port scanned, how to block or restrict the scan in the present and future, apart from setting rules on your router to block DOS attacks. So when you're setting the rules on your router to block DOS attacks, it's basically doing the same thing. It is checking for port scan attacks. टेली हैक के अंदर अगर आप कुछ हैकिंग करते हो, अंदर टेली हैक के अंदर जो टूल्स है उसके अंदर उसी डिवाइस को हैक करते हो, वो इलीगल है, बिकॉज दे आर ऑल सिमुलेशंस. इफ यू डू एनीथिंग आउटसाइड टेली हैक, दैट इज इलीगल. ओके. Yes, an Android jack can be traced. It is possible. It requires some kinds of softwares to be built. There's something. There's a concept called as piggybacking. So whenever a communication is being, somebody hacks your machine or device, if there is communication going from your machine to that machine, there's something called as piggybacking which you can do. Information which you can load into the optional parameters of the header, and then you can do something called as piggybacking, and automatically that is a way which anybody uses to trace. If a hacker attack happens, tracing happens using lots of techniques. One of the most common techniques is piggybacking, because if the hacker is downloading data from your machine, along with that data you can piggyback information to check where the data is going. Every device on the network, even if it is in the cloud, has an IP address. Okay, क्लाउड में होने का मतलब ये नहीं है कि वो उसका आईपी एड्रेस नहीं होगा.
So there is a question from Renuka and Isha in the chat box.
Yeah, I'll just check. I was just scrolling down. If we already know the attacks that are prone to happen to our devices, how can we prevent it? So to secure it from these, although seemingly small attacks. Small attacks nahi hota hai. When you lose your money or your data, it is very big attack for you. It might be small for the other person. Okay. So any kind of an attack happens because of the loopholes in the security system in the system which you are using. So those loopholes have to be closed. So the basic tenets are that you install a good antivirus and an internet security software, have your firewall settings properly configured, okay, and do not use applications or softwares without licenses. Do not use cracks, do not use trojans, torrents, because then you are making your system available to others. So torrents by default, you allow them to upload data from your server, or from your machine or stuff like that, and people can do anything with your machine. Okay, when you visit a dark web website, or if you go down under or whatever, then also you are prone to getting attacked. If you don't know what you're doing, please don't do it. First learn how to be safe, then try to do anything new. How can I hack my boyfriend's Instagram? I guess he's cheating on me. Arey, wow, wow, wow. Very nice. Don't worry. Okay, if you think he's cheating on you, don't need to hack him. Just leave him. Okay.
Sir, Ansh is asking one question. There in chat box. Any
So,
way,
I'm unable to
Anshupal here asking is any way to know if the victim to
if we are
might
victim to
attack?
MITM attacks?
I'm sorry, Ansh. I don't know what an MITM attack is.
And Rohan Chabra is also asking XD. What is that? I don't know.
नहीं वो तो खाली हंस रहा है I think.
Acha.
So, Anshir here is trying to
अच्छा, man
ask
in the
that
middle attack.
man
Okay.
in the middle attack.
Man in the if you are in a man in the middle attack victim, uh, unless you know whom you are communicating to, like suppose if you're connect if there's a man in the middle attack which is pretending to be your bank, then you need to know the bank's actual IP address. That's where who is comes into picture. Okay, and verification of the clients using third party digital signature verification is very important. So your digital signatures, fingerprinting, hash codes, these are areas where by which you can authenticate any device or a process. Okay, so those are the techniques which you need to use. So if you are connecting using certified websites, and if you are connecting to using third party, trusted sources, then you can find out if you are being attacked by a man in the middle attack.
Shivani Singh is also asked some
How
question.
can we find the loopholes on our mobile device? Because any search made from an app is being advertised to on another app. So somewhere such apps must be getting more data from our mobile device. Um, if you install some kinds of operating systems, I forget the name now, but well, we used to install root mods and all of that, which used to allow us to color the data. So there are softwares which allow us to color the data and identify where our data is going and where it is coming from on a mobile phone, but it is done at a access level. So there are some softwares which are available. Some of them are not possible to be installed if your mobile does not allow you to have root access. Okay, but if you are allowed to root your phone, then you can do a lot of things.
So,
I can't name any tool which is not ethical. So sorry.
Sir, Preetham has asked one question.
Okay. उसके लिए आप Google करोगे बहुत मिल जाएगा. Don't worry. Just ask Google. Every answer is there. Don't ask me. Isn't the computer firewall capable in terms of tools? If you need names of tools and everything, please ask Google. Okay, I cannot give names of any particular tool if it is not safe. Isn't the computer firewall capable enough to prevent attack on the system, or having a third-party antivirus? Firewall and antivirus are two different things, Mr. Pritam. Firewall protects you from internet attacks, network attacks, whereas an antivirus keeps you safe from something called as a malicious software or a malware. Okay, they are completely different things. एक से दूसरे को prevent नहीं किया जा सकता. Okay, it's like there are certain things जिसके लिए आपको वैक्सीनेशन लेने की जरूरत पड़ती है, certain चीज जिससे आपको दूर रहने के लिए आपको सेफ्टी करनी पड़ती है. हर चीज का वैक्सीनेशन अवेलेबल नहीं होता. तो फायरवॉल्स इज सेपरेट, एंटीवायरस इज सेपरेट, email protection is separate, port scanning protection is separate. All of them are different. Many of them are nowadays clubbed into a single package. When you buy from McAfee or AVG or something, they call it internet security, complete internet security, ऐसा कुछ total internet security, ऐसे कुछ नाम देते हैं. What it basically means is it contains a suite of softwares, suite of applications which together protect you from lots of things. Because आपका email में जो attachment आता है उसमें virus है कि नहीं, वो check करने के लिए अलग antivirus लगता है. ओके, वैसे ही आपके मशीन में जो पेन ड्राइव से वायरस आता है उसका लिए अलग एंटीवायरस लगता है. सो यू हैव डिफरेंट टूल्स nowadays they generally call it as total system security or total internet security. ऐसे अलग अलग नाम से वो लोग बेचते हैं. और डेटा कलेक्टिंग के लिए uh, we used to use something called as I'll send you the name. Sometimes just skips in our mind. Com something. I'm forgetting the full name. Okay, but data coloring, if you just put it on Google, Android ke liye data coloring, it comes with an operating system. So you have to. There's a version of Android which you can install, which can then do it. It's like you have Kali Linux. It's something similar, but the name I'm forgetting. NetHunter is one. The name which I wanted to give was something with a com, but I'm forgetting it. If I remember, I'll message you.
Question from Preetham sir.
Preetham कहाँ है? Isn't
Yeah,
computer firewall? मैंने बोला ना वो. I already
it's been
answered.
asked.
Firewall is different and antivirus is different.
No,
Right.
no, he has actually privately sent it to me.
अच्छा.
He's telling, I mean to say, is that just like antivirus deletes a malicious software when encountered in the system? Can the firewall be configured to do the same?
See, firewall protects things from entering which are trying to enter without permission. Now, for
Huh.
example, if I write an email to you with an file which contains a Trojan horse, okay, you know me. So now when my email comes to you and my Trojan horse is hidden inside a file, which is an attachment, because I am sending it to you, you will accept that email. Firewall cannot prevent it. Okay. So firewall cannot prevent it, but your antivirus, when you will download that attachment, will be able to scan that file and identify a Trojan inside it. Okay. So an antivirus जो काम करता है वो फायरवॉल नहीं कर सकता, जो फायरवॉल करता है वो एंटीवायरस नहीं कर सकता. They both are required and both have a different job.
Okay, so do we have any last question? Otherwise, we will end today's session. Thank you so much, all my dear participants here. I think we have beautifully put forward a lot of questions, and I hope all your questions are answered. In case you have few more questions, you can definitely reach out to us, and we'll forward those questions to Asif sir, and hopefully we'll get more reply. Over to you, Geeta madam.
Any more questions, students?
I
Why?
think
This
we
question is
will.
already answered, student.
नहीं वो कुछ नहीं, वो Derek is just playing games.
Right, sir? I think so. This question was already answered. They are asking again the same question about
नहीं,
girlfriend and.
don't worry. I know what he's trying to pull, but that's okay.
Okay,
Nice try,
okay,
Derek. Won't work.
okay. So, okay. So, okay, sir. It was very wonderful and informative session. I'm feeling that you have taken students from the basic of journey till hacking. I'm sure now they will be trying to hack different website, including so many different other things. Thank you so much, sir. I think it is very useful session for the students to know. Of course, in very less time, we won't be able to cover like right from basics up till whatever we want to. It's just a glimpse for the students to know. In networking also there are a lot of things. Otherwise, many of the time students feel only development is important, programming and all that. But there are so many things which can be done in networking itself. Students can build their career in networking. So, sir, on behalf of KC College, HSNC University, I would like to thank for giving your time to deliver the knowledge for the students. Best of your knowledge as you are expert in this. And we hoping more sessions on the same in different topics for the students, how one can hack ethically also for the students. Thank you so much, sir, to have you with us.
Actually, see, I have a confession. It's not really
Sir,
about.
audio.
Sorry, actually will teach them networking a lot. Using a game.
Yes, sir.
The game is hacking, but that's the best way of learning it. To keep it interesting.
Yes, sir. Students will find that thing only interesting, no, sir?
Exactly.
Yes, sir. Students, please don't forget to fill the feedback form. The links are already shared in the chat box. It is compulsory and mandatory, otherwise certificate won't be issued. Shalini ma'am, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to thank Asif sir for this wonderful session. Thank you, Asif.
Most welcome, ma'am. Most welcome.
So to all my dear participants, you have received the feedback form. There are two feedback forms. Feedback form number one here on your screen. May I please request, this is a departmental feedback form. Kindly fill this feedback form to track the attendance, and also you can reach out to us with any queries. There is another link that is being posted right now. This session was on YouTube Live. Yes, you can watch this session repeatedly on YouTube. A Facebook link and a LinkedIn link is also being posted. Kindly fill these forms. Stay in touch with the KC alumni group on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, so that we can come with more and more such kind of sessions here. You were listening to the most knowledgeable Mr. Asif K. Rampurawala. And sir, let me congratulate you. And it was a very excellent session, sir. Yesterday, when I read the topic, computer networks and beyond, at the end of the session, I feel so much that this topic needs to be changed into computer networks and way, way, way beyond, because the kind of I myself, sir, I'm an engineer from VGTI college. I have been a tech enthusiastic. Sir, for me also, I thought, I have learned enough of computers now after so many years. But sir, I think I can myself take away so many points regarding, may it be ethical, may it be networking, so many new tools you have added. I've been working into computer industry from quite a long time, but still, sir, I can take away 90% of your session was loads of information for me as, a professional. So I can relate how excellent it is going to be for the students here. आप सब सुन रहे थे मिस्टर के आसिफ रामपुरावाला, कंप्यूटर नेटवर्क एक्सपर्ट, वाइस प्रिंसिपल विद्यालंकार स्कूल ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी. Mr. Asif has a master in computer application from University of Mumbai. 15 years of teaching experience, which I can surely see, sir. You are an excellent speaker. You have engaged the audience so beautifully. He has also done post graduation. He was actively involved in various collaboration with foreign universities and industries. A professional member of Association of Computing Machinery, ACM, and CSI also. His interest includes ICT, pedagogical research, soft computing, and I can see what a great corporate trainer you are, sir. Thank you so much for joining us and making this session really amazing. Further questions, whatever questions all the participants are, you please send it to us. We will definitely forward you to Asif sir. And Asif sir, I would also invite you. We are trying to build up a strong KCCS alumni community, and a person like you can really be the founding pillar of such a group. So, sir, we will definitely disturb you in future also.
Most welcome.
Yes, sir. We are hoping
For a long time, so it's a
few
pleasure.
more trainings from you, from your side, and we'll be connected like this only for further sessions, sir, especially on networking.
Any kind of help,
Now I will keep on disturbing you, sir.
in whatever way I can help, always welcome.
Hello? Yes, sir.
I'll most welcome to help in any way I can. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sure, sure. Yes, sir. Yes.
So, with this, we are going to take a leave. Another wonderful session of KC Computer Science Alumni Web Series. What a session! We have tried to see today how ethical hacking, what are the different networking aspects. I think you can now relate very well the computer network subject with the practical application. All thanks to Asif sir here. I would also like to thank KC College CS Department for allowing us to become a part of such a wonderful seminar. I would also like to thank Bagla Madam and Salini Shinna Madam, who has allowed us to, experience this such a beautiful session. Thank you everyone. We will stay in touch. Stay safe. Dobara milenge with another web series where we are going to see another excellent KC alumni speaker on a different topic. Thank you so much, Asif sir. Thank you so much, Geeta madam. Shalini Maheshwari madam. Thank you.
Special thanks
Thank
to
you
you,
so much.
Ajit, for entire technical support for keeping our sessions live. Thank you so much for being there with us, sir. He is one of our alumni student. He is helping us for all the technical support
When
and
did you
making our
graduate, Ajit?
sessions live. 2009,
So,
sir.
so proud of our all eminent alumni. Thank you, Ajit. Thank you,
We
Asif.
will
Yes,
connect sometime. And thank you, मैम, आप लोगों ने याद किया, बहुत अच्छा लगा.
yes, sir.
फिजिकली नहीं, वर्चुअली तो कैसे आया मैं.
Yes.
नो सर, अभी फिजिकली भी मिलते ही रहेंगे ना,
मिलते तो
नेटवर्किंग के
आते
लिए
रहता
आपको
हूँ
तो
मैं कम से कम.
छोड़ेंगे ही नहीं अभी.
वो इंशाल्लाह जरूर जरूर always.
Yes, I used to came na in VSIT. Remember?
Of course, आप
Yes.
आते रहे तो मेरा आना भी कम हो गया है थोड़ा. कभी कभी आता भी हूँ तो अभी कोलाबा जाना पड़ता है. आईटी
And
डिपार्टमेंट वहाँ पे हो
and
गया
we
है.
miss Munira na. She used to teach, but now